So, hi, ערב טוב, good evening, buenos dias. ברוכים הבאים לפסטיבל דוק אביב, ה-22, ולתחרות הבינלאומית. היום תהיה איתנו מייטה אלברדי, הבמאית, היוצרת מאחורי החפרפרת, The Mole Agent, והתחרה בתחרות הבינלאומית. את השיחה הזו, שאורכה כחצי שעה, ילוו גם השאלות שלכם, אז אתם מוזמנים ללחוץ על כפתור ה-Q&A בתחתית ולשאול אותנו בעקבות הצפייה בסרט שאלות שנעביר למייטה בהמשך. A bit in English, welcome to the 22nd Doc Aviv Film Festival and to the international competition. We have today Maite Alberdi. Hello, Maite. Hello. And
hello. Thank you for the
film, The Mole Agent, and as we said, the webinar will be approximately 30 minutes, and you can ask questions. Press the Q&A button, and it will come to us. Hello. So again, great to have you with us tonight or this afternoon.
Thank you for the invitation.
And we talked before a bit that it is your third appearance in the program of Doc Aviv, the first time in the competition. So it's also a very big pleasure for us to have you again. So let's start. I'm starting from the tone of the film, which is a big issue, because when thinking about the first scene, let's start from just the first scene. The most hilarious, maybe there are a lot, but maybe one of the most hilarious scenes is the scene of the auditions. And well, it shows, of course, the humor, sometimes black, like very reflexive, very reflective, very tongue-in-cheek. But at the same time, it shows a lot of sadness, like deep sadness from the harsh reality, I would say. I felt that the people that come to the audition are super shocked by the fact that men between 80s and 90s are needed because they are usually invisible. So my question is, how come this tone is something this movie brings? This dual tone.
Yeah, I think that the film have a starting point in that scene that in some way also put a statement about old age, because it starts with people that it's completely active, looking for a job at their 85 years old. It ends with people more abandoned, with dementia and isolated at the same age. So for me, it's a scene that in some way it's funny, but also say like you cannot make a unique vision about old age, and you cannot make a general statement. Like there are different worlds in each person at that age. And I think that it's also that scene, the travel of the tone of the film, because it started more as a comedy, yeah. And then the drama is coming, and I abandon in that point the comedy, but yeah, it's funny because it's surprising, and for me it was surprising. Like for me it was really weird to know that people at that age are looking through the newspaper to find a job. And it's amazing, and it's a nice tone because you're not expecting for people not only to find a job at that age, but open to new experience in a moment that you think that the people it's not open for new experience. So for me, that is the invitation of the film and of that first scene that put a starting point in this absurd situation from the beginning. All people trying to work.
Yeah.
A spy of 85 years old, that of course it's the worst spy of the world. The contrast between a place that it's supposed to be a crime, but it's not. So everything it's absurd and comic and and funny in that contrast, but then you start to see the humanity that it's out of that funny context in some way.
But I must say that this line of humor, I feel that it's there all the time, because humor also brings a human point of view or human subtext to situations.
Completely near.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other day, the cinematographer of the film that saw the film for the first day told me, like, I cry a lot at the end, but for me, in my memory of shooting, it was a funny day all the time and a comedy all the time. So in some way, for me, like, life is like that. You can be living a drama, but that doesn't mean that you don't laugh in life. So the contrast is in your day by day anyway.
That's true, and I feel okay. You're talking about change or the dual tone, as we said, the ambivalency between drama and comedy. Uh, but I want to tackle you with something because the film starts as a film noir, and we are going to talk about this in a sec. But this investigation plot, I felt, is a sort of what Hitchcock said called MacGuffin, like something that at the beginning seems to be the main idea that the movie is going to center on, and it becomes something insignificant because we are talking about something completely different. Like after 30 minutes, I think or 40, we understand that this is not the issue. The issue is Sergio is telling Romalo in one of the scenes that the biggest problem is not the alleged mistreating of Sonia, but it is the loneliness that she feels, the abandonment and the ungratefulness of her daughter that she hired Romolo. And when did you realize it develops in this direction? Because I guess this is something you couldn't have known starting this movie.
Yeah, completely. How do you say that Hitchcock says? MacGuffin?
MacGuffin, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, completely. Because, and I think that it was my process with the film. The result of the structure, it was my process on the research also. I started with the idea of make a film noir about a private detective and to follow a mole and to make this detective spy film. And I shoot all the case, and I was super focused on have all the structure in the case. I shoot the client. I have many scenes with the client. I put it in the editing, and for me, the structure was the case.
Excuse me, Mike. With the client, you mean the daughter of Sonia?
Yeah, the daughter. I shot the daughter. Okay. Like I have all that material, and I was super focused in my spy film. And at some point, I realized that the emotion was not in my spy film, and that was the narrative, like rational structure, but the emotion was the travel that the main character lived, and I didn't expect that, and it was something that appeared in the editing room. So that's why the film changed from this starting point that was only an excuse for me also to live an experience that I didn't expect that I was going to live neither. Mm-hmm. So, and I feel that it's a good excuse, because if I say like, okay, I invite you to see a film about people that it's alone in a retirement home and abandoned, I don't want to see that film probably, but the spy film I wanted to see it. So it's an excuse to speak about other things, but it was my own journey as a director also to realize that.
I knew you tricked us, Maite. I knew it. I knew that you wanted to trick us, to trick us all along. But I think it's really appreciated the fact that you went with what happened. You didn't like try to hang to the first idea. And let's talk a bit about the eyes and ears, the mole agent, Sergio, which you said about in an interview. You said, "I fell in love with him."
Yeah.
This I can feel from the way you not only shot him, but the way you edited it, and moreover, the portrait you have of him in the movie. I wanted to ask, did you see changes in him during the film? Because I have some ideas, but I wanted to ask if you noticed these changes and what kind of changes.
Yeah, I feel a lot of changes, and also a lot of changes that are not in the final cut. Was like um, at the beginning, he was trying to find an excuse to forget his uh, wife that has not forget her wife. You know, he was recently a widower and he was passing a very bad moment. So this was an excuse for him to live like something new in a hard moment of his life. But he was not really commitment with his feeling at that point. He was commitment with his job, as me. Like I was committed with the mission, and I think that they has a lot of prejudge with the people that were there. Indeed, the first day that he came, after 2 days, he wanted to go out and go back home. That it's not on the film because it was like super delicate and we cannot shoot it because it supposes that we were not shooting him. So it was something that happened between Romulo and him and his daughter, and they resolved it. And with the owner of the retirement home. But he wanted to go for that place because he thought that he was in another level and he doesn't want to become someone so old as them. Like I am not, because he said that the director told to him like, you are going to become another one of all these people, and he feel that he doesn't want to be that people.
Yeah.
So it was super frustrating and shocking that day for him. And he wanted to go, and it was like big discussions between the daughter, the detective, to combine him. And he stayed, and he completely changed his vision, and he was open, as do you say, open eyes and ears, like to listen to the others and to see how the persons can appear when you give time to them. Like, and it was something that I also learned, because I can have prejudge with Marta, for example, the woman that is calling her mom, and say, okay, she has dementia and she's not realizing anything. And at the end, you really realize that she feels that he's his friend, and she's completely on him, and she's completely clear that he's not his love, is his friend, and she needs him. And he also find that, and was like, as do you say, like it can feel like a stage at the beginning, but it's everything that it's happened there. It's pure love, and it's pure emotion, and it's real. And that situation that he lives, like, completely changed him. So, and until now, he's going to the retirement, not now in the COVID, but he was going constantly to visit his friends, and he's calling all the time. So he really learned and something new. And me too.
Yeah, I think that also that his sensitivity, which was there all along, just pops up, like in pops out in one glance, like and we see how he connects to Marta and to other of the residents of the place, and yeah, this sensitivity is also Marta. In his birthday, she sees him, so she's not only dementive, she's there.
Yeah.
And the way also she speaks with her mom, with her mother, and on the phone, come and pick me, come and take me. So talking about this, you mentioned now this day, this hard day for Sergio, and this is the time maybe to talk about something that reminded me of your last movie, topic that reminded me of your last movie, because you were this is your third appearance in Dokaviv. So 6 years ago, you had tea time, beautiful, sweet tea time, also with elderly women. So we can see the connection right away. But I see more connection in some ways with another movie 4 years ago, I think, The Grown Ups, which is a movie about men and women with Down syndrome. They are also in an institute, and they want to have a normal life, but also in their case, society are the one in charge and giving them limits. So I see the connection between the two. So first, I would love to hear more. How did you go from this one to this institution? Because I know that you didn't know that it's going to be about this place, right? Because in the beginning you were with Romolo. This was the beginning of this procedure. So please tell us.
I completely agree. It's super connected at the end with the grown-ups, in the point that the main characters are isolated from society and are people that depend from others. And when you depend from others and you are not autovalent, I can say in English, you are isolated, or the society put you in another place. And I feel that it's connected in the topic in that way. And probably as I start with Romulo, and I saw in my research, because I work as his assistant for a while, and I saw different mold cases, fathers that want to follow their children, security companies. I choose the case that it was connected with my interest at the end, that it's similar in that sense of the grown-ups, like how the institutions, or we as society, we put the people in institutions and we trust in these institutions, but we cannot construct the institution. Like you as a family of an old person that put your parents or your grandparents in a place, you trust in that place, but you doesn't build that place with them. Like they need you. And it's the same, the grown-ups, like they go to school forever and it's like, okay, they are isolated, but we don't work to make a bridge between that place and society. And here's exactly the same, like, okay, they're going to be out. Like, of course that they need special cares. I'm not discussing that, but how can we construct that bridge to be part of the society or to be part of the family, because the institution cannot take care of that, really.
And we see it a lot in the closed gates of the place, and Martha is there. Please take me out, she asks. And
yeah, that is a metaphor at the end, because of course that she wants to go out, but she wants to go out to a place that don't exist. It's a place that exists only in her mind, because indeed she escaped. We don't have the scene, we have the after scene of that. She escaped, but she finally go to the police because that house don't exist anymore. So that like sensation of I am close here, I'm in a kind of jail, that I don't have contact with others and I don't have contact with the outside. I think that it's like the perfect symbolism of the situation of the place. Yeah.
And of course, making documentaries and also watching them calls for an ethical questions and discussions. And in the case of these two films' subject matter and the subjects that you are following, there can be like some ethical questions. So I was wondering how can a filmmaker just, I would say, avoid falling into these unavoidable traps of, like, I would say, exploitation of the situation. Because when you go to these places of people that are more like disabled in some ways, that you can really say, okay, so I'm shooting what there is, it's a documentary. How can you avoid this? I would say avoid these solutions and try to come up with the right ethics to to make a movie like this, which is very, of course, sensitive.
Yeah, I think that giving time, it's like when you give time to, sorry, I have a construction near my, when you give time to characters and places and you try to understand how they work and to understand the deep thing of the topics, you don't make like a black or white speech, and you have to construct your point of view and your ethical place in the reality, understanding that reality. I cannot shoot without live or shoot for a while in a place, because if not, for me, it's journalist, because you have your first information or your first viewing of things, and I really need time to process. And in that time to process, you also think like how to construct that all the characters and all the situation with love. And I think that I cannot shoot a character that I am not connect with. Like even like Romulo has, for example, a completely different view of the world than me. I understand how he works, or I don't constructed him in the place when I have problems with him. Like I do not enter in that area of the character that it's polemic. So yeah, like it's not, I try to don't make exploitation in the sense of try to construct persons that I have living with them for a long time. So you're like a kind of family of them, like.
Yeah. And so following that, and one question that was raised from the audience, did the people living there, the residents, did they know that Sergio was eventually a mole agent, and did they watch the film?
They didn't know, and was like the big little lie of the film, and it was super
afterwards, during this, during the shooting, of course not, but I mean afterwards.
Yeah, of course. No, during the shooting, we said to the retirement home that I want to make a film about old age, and I want to shoot everything that is happening there, the good things and the bad things. And we entered before Sergio, and we say to them that we want to focus in the new one. If someone new one arrives, so when he arrives, we act as we don't know each other. So, but we keep all the press and all the information of the film until it was finished, because we never say to them that was a mole. The first audience that we have for the film was the owners and the crew of the retirement home, because we showed the film today to them. And before to show them, I told to them, well, we lied to you. Sergio was a mole, and it's a spy film, and I'm really sorry, but please see it. And they were like, I cannot believe it, I never suspect. And I was like, he was I really don't understand why they didn't suspect it. Like he was like all the time speaking like with and didn't suspect.
With the microphone on, like,
yeah,
you can hear everything. Yeah,
you can hear everything. He sent his reports like in an open way. He were asking for the medicine. It was like, I cannot believe it. And Romulo, of course, that it's FBI in his look. It was like, how can you don't suspect? Well, they didn't suspect. And they love the film because they say that it's really represent them and the problems that they have all days. they are really sharing the films with all the family members of the people that it's living there, and they really appreciate it. And I was super nervous because I didn't know if I could live, if could live with the film if they hated it, because I also, when time passes, I also trust in them, and I knew that was a good place. So I was feeling bad to lie to them, because at the beginning I also thought that it was a bad place. So when I realized that it was not, I felt very bad for the lie. But yeah, I'm super happy that they liked it.
And another question from the audience. I have a remark and a question. My feeling was that the turn in the middle of the movie was because of Sergio's rebellion, which is very, like, you can see it right away when he becoming more and more assertive, I think, with Romulo. He decided that he wants to find what is the situation of all the people there, not only Sonia. So I think you can relate to that, right? Like he was open also to them, and at the same time, his relationship with Romulo, the work relationship, was less important, right?
Yeah, for him, at certain point, he really doesn't care about Romulo, and was a problem indeed. Huh?
He couldn't stand him at one point, I thought.
No, he doesn't want to see him. He didn't want to talk with him, and it was a problem because Romulo was like asking things all the time, and at certain point it was like, okay, they are my friends. I'm connected with them, not with Romulo. So he really changed his switch in the middle of the research, and he changed his commitment. So I thought even he was like, at some point, he can lie to Romulo, but not to his friends. So, or how he defend Marta from the stealing, like, okay, she's stealing, but she's a good person, and you cannot judge her because she's not understanding what she's doing. And the other one was like, but she's a rat, that she's stealing. And it was like, no, it's not you don't know her, like you cannot. So it's nice, like how can you see the situation from outside that from inside? It's like when in the school, you know that one child hit your child, and you hate them from outside, but you don't know what is really happening there. That it's like the same, like from outside you say like, okay, she's stealing to everybody, but she's not understanding what she's doing really. So that sense of comprehension from him, for me, is like amazing. And because he has the proof that it's Marta, but he doesn't want to put her in a problem neither. So that's
what stayed in the film noir, while Sergio went already to the drama, to the
to observational documentary, like yeah, Romulo stayed in the film noir, and Sergio's the anthropological, classical, observational documentary. Like that is the fight of the film.
True. I want to ask, I don't know if we have more questions. I think not. So I want to ask another question about Chile. Looking at it from a broad perspective, I couldn't avoid thinking about to see this abandonment of the elderly in this movie, and also the alienation and detachment that you can see as main subjects in this movie, as maybe manifestation of a neoliberal society of us, and I guess that in Chile also. And I want to ask, do you think this tone is a representative of Chile of today, knowing that what Chile is, what you in Chile experiencing now? I mean, the rebellion or against the government, against these neoliberal faults?
Yeah, it's like completely one of the point of all the complaint that society have now, that we really, it's an egocentric model and a capitalist model where the people that don't fit in that model, it's out of society, and the people of 80 years old don't have social prevention, and they don't have money to live. That's why they are looking for a job at the beginning of the film. It's not only because they want to be active, it's because they don't have money to live and they don't have good pensions. So it's like, in the economic way, they are not considered, and they don't have social measures to help them. And in the other way, they are also not integrated to any discussion in society, because they depend of others. They are taken out of any social movement or social consideration. And yeah, one of the main complaints on issue in the social burns in Chile was the pension of the old people, and that's, it's economic, but at the same time it's saying something to you, like, we never think how it's our old age going to be. Like, we always dream like how to be an adult. We always, when you're a child, you dream like how to be a teenager and then how to be an adult, but you're never dreaming which kind of old people do you want to be, or which kind of life do you want to live. And everybody's trying to live the day, but not projecting that, and neither as a society that they really don't have pensions. So that is the meaning also of that first scene for me.
And last question. We talked about the film noir, the genres in the movie, and I was wondering if you thought about, I was thinking maybe that could be a film by Mike Lee or Sebastian Silva, the Chilean director. I saw these connections. So you think you're going to cross the line, to cross the line to fiction, maybe? Because in all your movies there is though I know that to the documentaries we see hybrid movies, but I was wondering if this is something that is of interest to you.
No, I really love to work with reality. I love to live life with people, like to spend a lot of time with people. And my goal is to make a documentary that you completely feel that it's a fiction in the style, but from the reality. Like, for me, documentaries are fictions that you construct from the reality, because they are narrative films. And that was my goal with the Mole Legend at the beginning, to make this film noir, and I finished to the documentary film noir and finished in this stylish mix. But I want to work with reality and make narrative films. Narrative, I mean, with scripted reality, like writing reality. Yeah.
So we should continue with that. And more questions from the audience, but we don't have more time. So one last note, before we say goodbye, that we talked about ethics, and we talked about the way that the sensitivity to film these kind of images and people, and the visibility. And there is one scene I want to close with, one image even that stuck in my mind, that when Sergio is trying the glasses for the first time, you are all seen, the entire crew. It's for a second. And that, I feel, is what is so beautiful in this movie, that it's about them, but you also expose yourself. And it's very, like, you don't even, you cannot, like, you don't have to feel it, but you feel it through the movie, even if you don't see it at the beginning. So thank you so much, Maite,
thank you,
for giving us this brilliant movie, and this funny and this enjoyable movie, but also with a lot to think about.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Ciao, and have a great day.
Thank you. Have a good night. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.